Bengan, Brinjal, eggplant, badnekai, wangi, melanzana, aubergine. These are some of the names of this universally popular vegetable. And I wouldn't be surprised if in India alone there are more than 50 dishes you can make with these. Hi, I'm Sayojita. And as you might have guessed, I'm going to make a brinjal dish today. In fact, I'm going to make 3. All of them with roasted brinjals, as we call them bharta. But all 3 very different. Let's just dive right in. I'm going to start with roasting the eggplants. I have a video on Instagram for a more detailed version. The link is in the description box. Wash and dry the eggplants. Make cuts in them like so. These serve a double purpose. First, to check that they are good from the inside and don't have any creepy crawlies. And second, you can also insert green chilies and garlic in the slits. They will get roasted with the eggplants and the eggplants will absorb their flavor. I'm using a large iron or carbon steel kadai to roast these eggplants. You can also use cast iron. Grease the kadai and the eggplant so they don't stick to the surface. Keep on high heat, and when it is hot, put in the eggplants and cover it, keeping the heat high through the process. The iron chars the eggplants well and gives them a smoky flavor. I do not like to roast them directly on the flame because the cleanup is quite messy. When we make cuts to the eggplants, some of the juices flew out and would make a mess on the stove. Open it from time to time to turn the eggplants. You can see right here the skin is beginning to char, but the eggplants are by no means done. They still have a ways to go. The whole process should take about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the thickness of your eggplant. You can be doing something else in the kitchen while this is going on. It just needs monitoring to turn the eggplants once in a while. And these are done. They are charred all over and completely soft. I'm going to turn off the flame and let them sit in the hot kadai for some time. Take them off and let them cool a bit. Now we are ready to extract the pulp and remove the garlic and green chilies. Scrape as much of the eggplant as you can from the skin because that's the charred part and that's what gives the roasted flavor. Take care that you do not have bits of skin in the pulp. Pound the garlic and green chilies before use and puree the eggplants with clean hands or with a masher. On to the bhartas. These are smoky dishes, usually eaten with some kind of roti. The first dish is Khandeshi bharta, garlicky roasted brinjal with scallions. The roasted eggplant, spring onions finely chopped, the white and green portions separately. Raw or roasted peanuts, crushed garlic and chili, cumin seeds, oil and salt. Heat the kadai and add the oil. Generally, these rustic bhartas are quite generous with the oil. I think 1.5 tablespoons is plenty, but you can add more if you feel the need to. I am using raw peanuts. They have to be fried until cooked, so I'm adding them in before anything else. This will take about 3 to 4 minutes. You can also use roasted peanuts. If you're not a peanut lover, you can reduce the quantity. Toss until the peanuts are pinkish in color and cooked all the way through. Then the cumin seeds. I like to use peanuts with the skin as they complement the grey of the eggplants and the green of the spring onions. And these are the green chilies and garlic I have roasted in the eggplant. You can also use fresh, crushed or finely chopped. Once you have the eggplant puree, this is an extremely simple dish. Just a few ingredients. The only prep is for the spring onion. The white portion or the bulbs of the spring onions, they need to be fried a little longer than the green leaves. Fry well until golden. I'm going to cover the kadai for just about half a minute to allow them to cook, still on medium heat. The steam inside the kadai is a beautiful sight. Add the salt, as much or as little as you like. The roasted eggplant, toss for a couple of minutes to allow all the flavors to blend. And last of all, the green portion of the spring onions. Toss for a minute and turn off the flame. The bharta is served at room temperature, therefore can be made ahead of time. And that's it, I have turned off the gas. Drizzle with half a tablespoon of oil before serving. There is no acidity in this dish. You can add a dash of lemon juice if you like. I have served my bharta with millet roti and zunka which is a spicy dish made with chickpea flour and some raw onion to go with it. This is a traditional rustic meal. Next, we will move on to roasted eggplants with coconut milk. This one is even simpler. It needs no cooking beyond the eggplant puree and takes less than 5 minutes to prepare. I have about a cup of puree. It serves 2. And there's no garlic in this one. The fresh seasonings are finely chopped onion, green chili and grated ginger. And coriander leaves, of course. I'm going to use my chopper today. All the 3 bhartas I have made today have one more ingredient in common besides the eggplant. They are from Maharashtra, where peanuts are aplenty and much loved. And then the other unusual ingredient, coconut milk. I'm using store-bought today. I think it makes a fine dish, which is much simpler. I'm going to make my bharta in this bowl. You can practically make it at the table. Drop in the onions, green chili and ginger, and the coriander. Add the salt and mix everything well. Let it rest for 1 to 2 minutes or more to allow the juices to be released. In the meanwhile, you can puree the eggplants and lay the table or put the rest of your meal together. Mix in the roasted eggplant and the tamarind paste, or you can also use lemon juice. Make this ahead of time and let the whole thing rest in the refrigerator. I have used roasted peanuts, but you can also use boiled peanuts. Taste and adjust the seasoning. Then add the coconut milk. Give it a good stir and you are good to go. Let it rest for 5 minutes and serve. I have served my bharta with cauliflower sabzi and folded chapatis. This bharta also goes well with a spicy chicken gravy. And moving on to the last dish. This one is a little more elaborate. It is from Kolhapur, usually quite spicy, but you can customize that to your taste. A quick glance at the main ingredients. Roasted eggplant, of course, oil, hing or asafoetida, goda masala, salt, coriander leaves, tomato, onion, roasted garlic and chili, plus some extra garlic, desiccated coconut and roasted peanut powder, along with turmeric, chili powder, tamarind paste and jaggery, which I have not shown right here. The kadhai is hot. Add the oil. I'm using groundnut or peanut oil. Generally, rustic dishes are rich in oil and chili. I am being relatively stingy with oil here. Hing, curry leaves, mustard seeds. Add the onion. If you want to stretch the eggplant to serve more people, you can increase the quantity of onion. It has to brown nicely. I'm going to lower the flame because I want to cook it until soft. The salt will help the onion cook faster by releasing its water. While the onion is browning, I have crushed my garlic and chilies using a mortar and pestle. And I'm also going to coarsely puree the eggplant. I'm using this extra raw garlic because I'm not using kanda lasun masala, which is a special onion garlic chutney from Kolhapur. I want to keep this dish away from too many exotic ingredients. The onion is done now. It is soft and browning rapidly. The roasted garlic and chili. Toss for a minute or so. And then add the tomato. As you may have gathered, nothing is exact here. A little more or little less customized to your taste is just fine. Toss for about a minute, then cover the kadai to allow the tomato to soften completely. Had I added a lot of oil, I could just fry it without a lid. The tomatoes still need to soften, but while that is happening, I'm going to add the other spices. Turmeric, coriander powder, chili powder. I have used mild Kashmiri powder, but in Kolhapur they use hot chilies. I'm just going to cover the kadai for about half a minute. The tomatoes are softened and the whole mixture is nicely roasted with just 1 tablespoon of oil. Add the dry coconut. It needs to be roasted a little, and for that I'm going to increase the flame to medium. Scrape out the stuck-on stuff before it burns. It adds a smoky flavor to the bharta, so we want those crumbs in there. Now we have to add the peanut powder. It's already roasted, so you just have to toss it in. There's no need to add any water. The eggplant has plenty of liquid in it, and that will loosen everything. And finally, the eggplant. The goda masala. I'm not adding the traditional kanda lasun masala as I indicated earlier. This is a dry chutney of onion and garlic. I've already compensated for it by adding extra raw garlic earlier, a little acidity in the form of tamarind paste, and of course, where tamarind goes, we need a little bit of jaggery. It's optional. You can also use organic brown sugar instead. Let the jaggery dissolve and then we'll be all set. It's smelling wonderful. All we need to finish this is a liberal amount of fresh coriander. And it's done. Although Kolhapuri bharta is generally eaten with millet rotis or bhakri or even chapatis, I'm going to serve this a little bit differently from the traditional, as a dip with chapati chips. In fact, you can serve either of these dishes in this way. I'm just going to quickly make my chapati crisps and we can serve. A hot tawa, a few drops of ghee or oil and a couple of chapatis. Now we are ready to serve. The Kolhapuri bharta in the bowl. Scrape off the kadhai because, as I said earlier, this is the best part. Cut the roasted chapatis into eighths. They will have crispened now that they are cool. And lay them around the plate. Well, that's it for Bengal bharta for now. Be on the lookout for more such recipes on Instagram coming soon. And I would love to hear from you either here or on Instagram. I look forward to your comments. In the meanwhile, you can check out this playlist on vegetarian Indian gravies. Happy cooking and thank you for watching.